oh.
Because this road where they see, so you no guarantee safe delivery. Oh.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Roads so e no dey, light o usa, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't call.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. We call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akin Fade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract where we be that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old since. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap am.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I supposed pay that one. You remember say me I tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akin Fade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
And with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Society Watch on Atlantic Television Network, and joining me in this conversation this afternoon is a public affairs analyst. I'm talking about Wealth Oduyemi. It's good to have you.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here today.
Your purple is purpling.
Thank you.
All right, the story for today is from Lagos State. The Lagos State government reported that 70 husbands and 592 wives were victims of domestic violence in the past year. The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Cecilia Dada, stated that her ministry recorded 662 domestic violence cases, with 274 directly reported and 388 through a toll-free line. Additionally, the Executive Secretary of the Lagos Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, Titilayo Vivor Adeniyi, noted that between September 2022 and July 2023, 340 men reported domestic violence by their wives. Yes, according to the Lagos State government, about 70 husbands and 592 wives, men is not quite much, were involved, victims of violence in the past year. And we know that domestic abuse can take any form of physical violence, emotional, verbal, or sexual abuse, of course. But why are men often reluctant to report abuse? Because looking at it, it's 70. And then for women, 592. That means, that's to say that women easily speak up. But men, why are they just, quiet about it? What's the problem?
Okay. If you look at that statistics, it's a figure reported, meaning that there could be more. If you want to look at the population of Lagos, it's hovering between 24 million, 26 million. And out of that population, in the last 1 year, you have the figure that is rolled out. Now, for the men folk, by societal perception of the male gender, it's expected that men are supposed to be at the helm of affairs in terms of control, coordination, organization, etc., etc. If you probably want to pry more, you will most likely, I may not have an hypothesis to segregate or separate the pool by which these statistics coming from the men, but I also want to believe that some of them will be for the purpose to making their relationship work. It could also be that some are also disabled, or the other at one disadvantage or the other, considering the fact that somebody who's on a wheelchair, who had a health challenge, and they probably needed to be, attended to. And because it's aspect can be subject to domestic violence, which includes that I was at a health facility some time ago, and I saw a man on the wheelchair, and then whether the sister or the wife and one other relative, as to that the way and manner it could be very inconvenient. I sympathize with the family of that man, because he practically cannot do anything on his own. So the figure for men is because that figure, it could be that because it was reported, and maybe directly or indirectly, because it will be a laughing stock, even though it's a serious concern that you probably want to discuss it among men. We've discussed about these things before. That the reason we want to bottle up is that how will you feel, or how do you want to accept it, as masculine as you are physically, that you are being embarrassed and abused, as it were, by your partner, as the case may be married or about to get married. And then you see some of these indices. The point we're trying to push out here is that regardless of the terrain, victims of domestic violence may tend to be exposed to. The point is that safety first, and you should reach out as much as many. We've seen many who die. Look at the other one we heard some times ago, I think last year, about a woman, or 2 years ago, somewhere in North Kano or somewhere, because of repeated domestic violence. The husband has been murdering on her. Somehow she got frustrated and lose her cool, and then carry an object, kill the husband. And then she was sentenced to life imprisonment.
So with that, with that particular definition, a story, can you say that women actually give out what men give to them, like they reproduce what men give to them?
Well, because of the era of the social media and platforms where sensitization, awareness, education, it could be negative and positive. Okay. Where some persons over time who have been victim of this abuse over the years now got a wind of what they can actually do within the circumstance. And then looking out for some loopholes in the law where they can also hide, because it could be regarded as self-defense, and it could also be that mistakenly killed or mistakenly maimed or harmed. Could probably, there are some protective aspect of law that, you know, can be explored to protect that intent, especially when the motive is not to maim or kill. So it's all encompassing. The point is just that once you find yourself, you know, in that space or in that corridor, is that you reach out. The point they are trying to, the news is trying to portray is that it exists, it's there. There are some persons who are just manning it up. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to say. And then because of the acceptance and perception to which they are self-influence, like, can you imagine? You know, some I've seen some neighbors who the wife will be shouting as to that the husband is abusing her, not knowing that she's the one abusing the husband. And then she's crying for help. All in the bill, oh, he has started again. And apparently, it was one of the neighbors who barged in and saw the woman on top of the husband, pounding the husband, and she's the one crying and shouting. So basically, the point is just to reach out so that you can avoid incidences and, you know, repercussions that could be very regrettable. You know, the point for me, I admire the courage if we were to be direct reporting of the victim, particularly for the male folks. They are the one who probably reported. Yes, it could seem as if, or they may be perceived as weak. They may perceive that they are not man enough, or probably because of certain, it could be economic, spiritual, it could be other factors that probably may enable such kind of something, you know, trend to happen. But the point is that they reach out, and there are a lot of programs to helping couple in this capacity. Some of them anger issues, some of them economic issues, and very underlying factor on trash matters that has bottled up over time, and then it has resulted. And then once probably maybe the man, some women evolve after being repeatedly abused. Now that has hardened their heart, and then they have actually got exposed to certain information to empower their resistance and defense, and then as a result of that, some you know, take it to the extreme, and then, you know, it brings about unfortunate incidences.
Unfortunately, of course, we know that a man in an abusive relationship may face a shortage of resources and, of course, lack of understanding from friends and families, and legal obstacles, especially if trying to gain custody of your children from an abusive mother. But whatever thing it is important to also know that you are not alone. It is not also a crime to speak up. It is not a crime to shout. You can't die in silence. You know, they say men do not cry. You have to cry out. Safety first. All right, and now the next story is from National Assembly. The Nigerian House of Representatives passed for second reading a bill to increase the retirement age of policemen from 60 to 65 years, or extend their service years from 35 to 40 years, whichever comes first. Sponsored by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin and Police Affairs Chairman Abubakar Yelaman, the bill aimed to retain experienced officers, improve job satisfaction, and address police personnel shortage, especially in time of insecurity. Additionally, the House passed a bill to remove the retirements from public service to declare their spouse assets, arguing its conflicts with the President's constitutional prerogative of mercy. Sponsored by Olawale Raji, the bill. It is stated here that the House of Representatives has passed for second reading the bill seeking to increase the retirement age of policemen from 60 to 65 years. If this becomes a law, that means police men in the country will retire on the clocking 65 years, or when they have spent about 40 years in the service departing, or depending on which comes first. What do you think about this? Because, well, I wanted to dive into something, but I think I shouldn't do that. Most times we're complaining that the reason for insecurity in the country is because they are not allowing the people, the experienced security personnel to stay. They remove them right on time or when their service is really needed. So what do you think about this decision?
Well, on the part of those pushing for this bill to scale through, the argument may seem genuine, implying that we need to retain experienced officers, those who have distinguished themselves over the years, who have track records of excellence and, of course, unraveling very difficult matters or cases, as the case may be. And also, part of the argument is also to reduce costs spent on training and retraining the younger officer or the inexperienced officers. You know, some of these trainings are very expensive. Some of them are international based. And then you have persons who, over time, have gone for some of this training. And their contribution and their input is of great value to the organization, as the security, the police, and all other related agencies. So the point that in that angle may tend to, in an environment where security, the insecurity appears to be evolving, dynamic, and very scientific. Scientific implying that despite the fact that consultants or concern or stakeholders' contribution over time to arresting channels by which criminal elements, these persons somehow presence and input is of great value. However, in another dimension is that some of these proposed retired personnel who are not tired, whether those who probably were found, let me put it in this manner, that the bad eggs, as it were, could also be a resource material in the camp of the criminal elements. Avoid police wears some gadget that is expected to be in the custody of, the security agencies. Somehow finds their way to, some of these criminal elements. And then you begin to imagine that if you profile further, you will see that either some of them have a on grounds of misconduct where, disengaged and, of course, show the way how now resorting to crime. And then you will now see that in the environment or in that space, crime rate is going up. So you want to weigh as concerned, stakeholders or government, you want to weigh what you have compared with what you don't have. So over time, even though it's either way, the government is going to spend. I'm not truly supporting idea of retaining them is to maximize
security,
the potentials of these persons who are dwindling in performance.
Okay,
and
so
many other factors to which time may not allow us to mention.
Yeah, so we also know that age also matters a lot in anything that we do. And then when you're talking about new recruitment, instead of making use of people with experience, is it that, don't you think that bringing this new set of persons into that still has